story tonight, the tapes, the trooper, his questionable past.
The 7 investigators obtaining stunning body cam video in the death of a teenager tased on his ATV. 15-year-old Damon Grimes died last August. He was being chased by a Michigan State trooper when
they tasered while he was driving.
Tonight, that video raising questions about that trooper, the response at the scene, and the shocking comments from officers after the crash. Our big story investigation begins with 7 investigator Ross Jones to show you what that video reveals.
The horrific scene is all caught on camera. 25 hours worth of video, from police body cameras to dash cams, even video shot by witnesses. What's almost as shocking as Grimes' death are the disturbing and sometimes insensitive comments by other officers on the scene.
They had to hit him. Look how his bike bent up.
I need justice for my little brother.
It is a violation of our departmental policy to fire a taser from a moving vehicle.
They need to be calling an ambulance.
I miss him every day. He was only 15.
On August 26th last year, a Michigan State trooper was in pursuit of 15-year-old Damon Grimes. These videos tell the story of his senseless death.
He flipped. Yep. Tell him there's an accident.
While Grimes rode his red ATV on Rossini Drive in Detroit, Trooper Mark Bessner's squad car was in pursuit. When Grimes didn't pull over, Bessner shot him with a taser, a violation of department policy. Grimes crashed into a parked truck.
What happened?
They tasered while he was driving, causing him to flip and crash.
They're coming from Gratiot and Rossini.
If you just maybe have another few neighbors there for more support. Sounds like it might be a pretty bad one.
Quickly, nearby officers from MSP and Detroit Police respond to the scene. There, standing over Grimes' body, is Trooper Bessner.
Yeah, he crashed into the... Oh. Can you get a mask out of it? He was going pretty slow. Got a pulse, he's breathing.
But quickly, Grimes' condition worsens while other officers watch helplessly. Listen.
He had a strong pulse. Yeah, we got here. It's a real thing. Tony, his pulse is weakening. What's our ETA on EMS?
His pulse is weakening. Thing and you chased.
While most officers arriving on the scene turn their body cameras on, some appear to turn theirs off. As one officer arrives, another approaches, placing his hand over her body camera. Immediately, she turns her camera off.
He's 15.
Alright, 5-1.
Where's his mom at?
No way. He's a bad this week. I'm sorry, man. You know what I'm saying? No sympathy at all. You want to be grown, you act grown, you deal with it.
When EMS arrived at the hospital, Grimes was pronounced dead. Hours later, police were still on the scene. As the sun set, they used a hose to clean up the crime scene where a 15-year-old lost his life. Neighbors watched in disbelief.
Now they want to clean up the blood after they just killed my little cousin.
Trooper Bessner resigned from the Michigan State Police after Grimes' death. He is set to be tried for murder in August. Even before he joined Michigan State Police, Bessner's conduct in another police department set off red flags. Our big story coverage continues with 7 investigator Simon Chiquette, who's live in Canton. Simon.
Ross, we obtained these documents through the Freedom of Information Act, and they spell out how Bessner broke the rules while working as an officer here in Canton.
Some departments flat out just said, we're not going to tell you anything except that, yes, that's a valued employee here, and they worked here from this date to this date.
We showed State Police spokesman and former hiring background investigator Lieutenant Mike Shaw the findings of our Freedom of Information Act request. One issue back on August 18th, 2010, that led to Bessner being suspended without pay was a failure to investigate after a woman ingested pills in an apparent suicide attempt. Instead, Bessner locked her up, and she later became unconscious, stopped breathing, and required emergency help before being placed on life support.
And that would be something we would talk to them about. If we knew about it, we would discuss it with them.
Roll all the way down. I can't hear you. You gotta roll all the way down. You can't hear me? Roll it all the way down. I can hear you. Roll it all the way down. For what? My window doesn't roll. this one open? Yeah, what are you doing? Get out. For what? Out. Now. For what? Out. Hey, am I under arrest? Get out. Am I under arrest? No. Out. I'm going to pull you out if you don't get out. Pardon me a second. Get out. You really want to get tased right here in the middle of your car? For what? Get your ass out now. I haven't done anything, officer. I haven't done anything, officer. What? Am I under arrest? Yes. Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Come out of the car. Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Give me your hand. You're under arrest. For what? Yeah. For what? Get your ass out of the car. All right, fine. Just get out. Out. What? Out right now. Out of the car. Out of the car. Taser deployment. On the ground. Out of the car. On the ground. On the ground. Ah! I told you. Hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Stand up. Walk.
Did you know that having cold hands and feet is a sign of a much bigger health problem? Most people don't even notice it. Their hands and feet are just all
strapped to a chair, unable to move, and tased over and over again.
It sounds like something out of a nightmare, right? But it happened at the hands of deputies inside a local jail, and it's all caught on tape.
Investigative reporter Ben Hall has the story behind that video, and we want to warn you, it is disturbing.
It's terrible. I don't know.
These pictures show how 18-year-old Jordan Norris looked after spending several days in the Cheatham County Jail last year. His body was covered with burns after being jailed on drug and weapons charges.
I said, Jordan, what is that? It looked like he had the measles. And he said, that's where they tased me. Could not wrap my mind around that.
His stepdad, William Chapman, counted more than 40 burns and demanded to know what happened.
I was actually giving the police the benefit of the doubt over my own child because I'm thinking he must have been fighting back. He must have been resisting.
But his opinion changed when he saw the jail's own video from the booking room and from cameras on the tasers themselves, which revealed officers used tasers over and over again to stun Norris while he was restrained in a chair.
It was heartbreaking. It was very heartbreaking.
Cheatham County's use of force report indicates Norris began banging his head against the door of his cell and threatening other inmates. You see officers remove Norris from his cell and bring over a restraint chair.
I think he had some sort of breakdown. He said he was feeling suicidal.
Chapman says it's clear his son was not in his right mind. The video shows multiple officers surrounding Norris, who clearly struggled. They use a handheld taser to stun him as they attempt to strap him in the chair. But the family has filed a lawsuit which claims officers tased Norris later that night while he was on suicide watch, physically restrained by the chair and multiple officers. But Sheriff Breedlove said officers followed procedure because Norris continued flinching and was not fully restrained. An overhead camera shows what happened.
Asking, do you want me to do it again? And we got like a whole bunch of batteries we can train into you pretty much. Like we'll do it over and over till we have no more.
On the Sheriff Department Facebook page from the week Norris was arrested, the sheriff himself seemed to taunt Norris, saying he peed a little bit when he was first arrested by the SWAT team. He called Norris a drug dealer by trade and on the fast track to live the thug life. Breedlove says the Facebook page is meant to be humorous and entertaining. But he said Norris's treatment after he was arrested was not taunting, but necessary.
You could hear someone else saying, wow, they're really lighting him up.
Attorney Ben Rabin says the force was excessive and not appropriate.
We think that the tapes speak for themselves.
We're going to get you up, and we're going to escort you to the car.
Norris was finally taken to a patrol car to go to the hospital. He appears unaware of what's happening.
Hey, calm down.
I'm going to get beat up after this.
No, you're not.
Norris later broke out the window to a patrol car before being taken to a mental health facility. His family says no one deserves what happened to him.
When I found out that he was actually strapped to a restraint chair, it was even more mind-boggling. It just didn't make any sense.
Sheriff Breedlove declined an on-camera interview but stressed his deputies followed procedure. He said Norris was strong and out of control and said they had to stun him to gain compliance. Ben Hall, News Channel 5.
He was like, oh, she's don't want to follow directions. She's resisting. I'm going to taser you. No, taser her.
Marksville, Louisiana, where, as the water tower says, everybody is a somebody. And the somebody everybody here is talking about is 6-year-old Jeremy Martis, killed in a blaze of bullets fired by 2 deputy city marshals during the pursuit of a car the boy's father, Chris Few, was driving. Few was neither armed nor were there warrants for his arrest. How could it happen? According to some, this small town has big problems.
It's a whole lot of things that's wrong. And it's sad for to say that it took a 6-year-old boy for them to come and see what is really going on down here. And it's just not right.
Fingers point to the deputy marshals now charged with Jeremy's death, 32-year-old Derek Stafford and 23-year-old Norris Greenhouse Jr. Stafford's also a Marksville police officer. Even the mayor says he's had conflicts with him.
I tried to talk to the previous chief about it, and nothing was done.
So has Patrick Johnson, who says Officer Stafford had him arrested just for complaining about it.
Made a complaint to the Avoyelles Parish Sheriff's Office, and later on, I guess they heard it over the radio, and they sent a police officer arrest me for disturbing the peace.
Johnson sued. It's one of 5 lawsuits that name Stafford as a defendant. A woman alleges Stafford used a stun gun on her, even though she was already handcuffed and in the back seat of a police car. In another suit, a mother accuses the officer of restraining her teenage daughter so forcibly in a school bus that the girl had to be treated at a hospital for an injury to her arm. All of the suits are still pending. We reached out to Stafford's civil attorney, Derek Whittington, who told us, quote, I will not be making any comment regarding litigation involving the city of Marksville or its employees, unquote. Then there are the criminal allegations against Stafford. 2 counts of aggravated rape stemming from 2004 and 2011. Those charges were later dropped. Whatever the previous allegations, of course, none of them explain what everyone wants to know. Why did a pursuit that night end with an unarmed man critically wounded and his 6-year-old son sitting beside him, dead?
Is tase you like that.
The city of Cincinnati and Kroger will pay $240,000 to settle a claim brought by an 11-year-old girl who was tased by a police officer.
This has just been a nightmare for her. She's got definite problems that need therapy. This has been a real traumatic experience.
It happened in August at a Kroger grocery store. Officer Kevin Brown was off duty and working security at the time when he saw a group of girls he suspected of shoplifting. He says the girl in question did not obey his commands to stop, so he used his taser gun on her.
When I say stop, you stop. You know you caught. Just stop. That hurt my heart to do that to you.
Video from his body cam later shows him reprimanding the child. She was taken to a hospital, but the incident outraged the community. and the city's mayor, who said it was an inappropriate use of force. The Fraternal Order of Police said Officer Brown was just following department procedure. The Cincinnati Police Department said the officer was found to have been in violation of department rules and will be suspended for 7 days.
What all did you take?
I put some of my friend's stuff in there, but I only took the bag of chips and them juice.
The girl was originally charged with theft and obstructing official business, but the charges were dropped. She has since written an apology letter to Kroger. Her lawyer says she has learned her lesson.
It's nothing that she wants to do again, and her mom has reinforced that this isn't the way she wants her kids to act. So going forward, kids should take warning that this isn't appropriate behavior, but police should take warning that there are better ways.
Teen traffic stop, but things start to escalate when the 65-year-old granny at the wheel won't sign the $80 ticket for having a broken taillight.
You don't want to sign it?
No, because I don't think that I deserve to pay $80 for something that is fixable and I can fix it.
All right.
That's all you want to do.
Go ahead and step out of the car.
Why?
Because you're under arrest. Step out. Step out of the vehicle.
No, I'm not.
Step out.
The granny rolls up the window, then cracks it.
You be fair with me and I'll be fair with you.
Step out.
No.
You're under arrest.
No, I'm not.
The tension rises.
You are full of because you're not placing me under no damn arrest.
She relents, but it's too late.
Shut up and give me that and I'll sign it.
Step out.
No.
We're beyond that.
The woman takes off. So the cop jumps into his cruiser and chases her.
Get out of the car!
When he catches up to her, he approaches with his gun drawn. Then things turn really ugly.
Put your hands behind your back.
Leave me alone!
The officer tries in vain to get handcuffs on the granny. Cops say she tried to kick the officer, who then tasers her.
Put your hands behind your back!
Eventually, the officer succeeds in cuffing her.
Are you hurt?
Yeah, I'm hurt.
What hurts?
Everything. You did not have to taser me.
You wouldn't comply. You wouldn't get out. And then you tried to kick me. So,
Why?
yes, I did.
Yeah, I tried to kick you because I'm a country girl.
I spoke to security expert and former police officer Steve Cardian about the drama which happened outside Oklahoma City. We're talking about a woman in her 60s here. This was all over a broken taillight.